recording? Okay.
Unmuted.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to our February 22nd, 2024 Lander County Commissioner meeting. All times on this agenda are approximate. Consideration of items may require more or less time than is scheduled. Items on the agenda may be taken out of order. The public body may combine two or more agenda items for consideration, and the public body may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to an item on the agenda at any time. Public comment is designated for discussion only. The public has the opportunity to address the commission on any matter not appearing on the agenda. However, no action may be taken on any matter raised until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Additionally, public comment may be heard on any item listed on the agenda. Persons are invited to comment or to submit comments in writing and or attend and make comments on any agenda item at the Lander County Commissioners Board meeting. All public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the Commission. Please note that the public body may interrupt the open meeting and exclude the public for the purpose of having an attorney-client discussion of potential and existing litigation pursuant to NRS 241-0153B2. I'll call this meeting to order. Dee, would you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a moment of silence. Lander County Commissioners may break for lunch from 12 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. Any agenda item may be taken out of order, may be combined for consideration by the public body, and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. Commissioners' reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended. Mike, we'll start with you.
We had the hospital board on the 14th, and we discussed the main focus was the discussion on the status of the construction. It's going along. Completion should be December, and then we got the update on the status of the ambulance transfer over to the county.
Okay. Jared?
I attended a Zoom meeting yesterday with State Public Lands, and there wasn't a whole lot going on for Lander County on it. It's all southern stuff.
Okay. Kathy?
I did both Lefsey and the TV board, and it's just general business, not anything.
Okay. Dee?
I did the Austin Airport Board. They're hard at it on their new sign and figuring out how to find more funding.
All right. Okay. We'll move into staff reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended. We'll short some staff members, but the ones we do have here, is there any updates? Okay. We'll move into public comment for non-agenda items only. Is there any public comment? Okay. We'll move into our...
Got one over here.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Charlie Vaughn from Austin. I was wondering what the process would be to get regular TV in Austin.
That TV board, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you talking about the TV board?
Yes.
Right now, you guys are not having any taxes pulled for your TV board, so I think the district attorney's office would probably be your place to start to figure out how that works. Because I checked a little while ago, because they thought they were getting taxed for that, but you guys aren't. And so I think the best way to do would be, because it's going to be the beginning of the process, is to start with the DA's office and figure out how to go through the motions to get that process started.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Charlie. Is there any other public comment? Okay, we'll move into our consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of County Commissioners with one action, without extensive discussion. Any member of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda, discussed and acted upon separately during this meeting. Consent agenda materials are available at the Lander County Clerk's office for viewing, and copies are available for a nominal charge. 1, approval of February 22nd, 2024 agenda notice. 2, approval of January 25th, 2024 meeting minutes. 3, approval of February 8th, 2024 meeting minutes. And 4, approval of payroll change requests.
Make a motion that we approve 1, 2, and 4.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll move into item 1 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove payment of bills, and we need to pull check number 222863.
Aside from that, check, I'll make a motion that we pay the remainder of the bills.
Okay, so we have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Make a motion that we pay check number 222863.
we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I abstain. That check is made to my employer. We'll move to item 2 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove, providing upfront funding for 100% reimbursable grant in the amount not to exceed $169,900 obtained through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services and administered by the Nevada Sheriffs and Chiefs Association for the purpose of a full body scanner for the Lander County Detention Facility.
Morning, Commission. This is a request, it was a quick turnaround on a grant that wasn't anticipated, and we applied for and received a grant in that amount to obtain a full body scan for the jail for prisoners coming in through the facility and stuff. It's a 100% grant, we just have to pre-fund it, and then it's reimbursed.
You guys don't have a scanner in there currently, huh?
We have a metal detector.
Metal detector. So how's this different?
This is similar to what you see in the airports.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And, all right, are there any questions?
No.
Okay. Is there any public comment on it? Okay, I'll hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the, what do you call it? The grant for $169,900.
One second.
Okay, and this is for the body scanner for the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
So it's been motioned and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, Rob.
Thank you.
We'll move into item 3 for discussion and possible action to review and consider final map acceptance for the merger and subdivision for the previously approved abandonment application number 23-01 filed by A&M Engineering on behalf of Lander County to vacate and abandon existing right-of-way as shown on the final maps of units 1 through 13 of the Austin Realignment Project, reserving therefrom existing utility easements, utility access easements, and right-of-way offered for dedication as shown on said final maps of units 1 through 13.
Commissioner Brian Hardy with the law firm of Marquis Arbach. I have been reached out to by Manager Bert Ramos. He did ask that I make a disclosure on his behalf since he's unable to be here today, and the fact that he does own property within the discussion area that we're going to be talking about today. And he asked that he just make sure that that was adequately disclosed today, that he's not being treated any differently than any other landowner. This is talking about the general project and the mapping that's going to happen in the general project, and he has had no input specific to his particular parcels or issues, different than any other landowner.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Thank you for the
Thank you.
disclosure.
I also have to make that disclosure.
Okay,
Okay, I am a property owner in Austin, but I received no financial gain.
okay. Morning, everybody.
Good morning. So with me again, I have our attorney, Brian Hardy. With me is one of our surveyors, L.K. Stevenson, and myself, Aaron Martinez with AM Engineering. And again, if it's okay with you, Mr. Chairman, we'd like you to open up both items 3 and 4.
Okay.
And then if you could please, at the end, make individual votes for each individual item.
Okay.
But if we could open them up now, I'll kind of go over both of them as they
Okay.
are related.
So we've opened item 3, I'll now open item 4, and then we can have discussion concurrently on. For discussion and possible action to review and consider final map acceptance for the merger of Reeves subdivision for the Austin Realignment Project filed by A&M Engineering on behalf of Lander County to merge without reversion to acreage by re-subdividing and recording on a final map. Approximately 315 acres into 306 parcel and to further accept approximately 67 acres for dedication of right-of-way as shown on the final maps of units 1 through 13.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So, again, this project has been in front of you a few times, and I'm opening up a few items, so bear with me as I get this finalized. So the planning commission had previously reviewed this item as a abandonment and a tentative map application per the county code on May 17th of 2023. At that time, it was an unanimous approval of both the abandonment of the proposed right-of-way and also the acceptance of the tentative map. As of that point, that launched us into our approval to go to the state of Nevada for Division of Water Resources and the Nevada Department of Environmental Protection approval. That is an NRS requirement for subdivisions, and through that process, we have been working with them hand in hand in order to obtain that approval. That original approval was not in our scope of work as we were looking at a different approach to this project. At that time, the commission paused our project penalty in order to allow us to seek that out of scope of work item. To date, no project costs have been incurred for that out of scope item. We just handled that with no additional costs. And also, as a side note, the commission did pause our project penalty, which was a $100,000 project penalty not to be completed within 2 years. Funny enough, that date is tomorrow.
Well,
So we hit our target anyway, even though you paused the penalty, so I appreciate it. We hit it by 1 day, to be honest with you, so that was pretty exciting to see come up on my calendar last week. So again, advancing from that planning commission May 17th approval, we then came to the county commissioners per the county code requirement to accept our tentative map process. You did that on June 22nd of 2023. At that point, again, we worked with NDEP and Division of Water Resources to obtain approval. We have those approvals in hand. One of the approvals from the Division of Water Resources has come through an email kind of approach, and we're waiting for the actual document that states that that is approved. But everything that's been signified to us is everything is 100%. Again, on the Nevada Department of Environmental Protection, they accepted our approval and we have that letter in hand. So again, today the items in front of you are two items. One of is an abandonment of right-of-way, and the other one is the final map acceptance of our subdivision map. The reason that there's two there is we're trying to get a dual-prong approach to this project to ensure that this project will succeed going forward. Some of the issues that come up when we are realigning every property in Austin can cause for unique circumstances in order to get the maps to make sense. So this dual prong approach is kind of a backup plan if our merger and re-subdivision approach does not see through. Under the merger and re-subdivision approach, to kind of give some of the commissioners that may not have been here throughout this whole process, basically under merger re-subdivision, we're taking the entire town of Austin and essentially merging it into one parcel, or in this case, 13 different parcels, units 1 through 13. Those units are kind of a standalone as we break up the entire town into separate sections to try to minimize how many residents have to sign that unit. So again, Unit 1 as an example, under the merger re-subdivision approach, merges every parcel into one parcel and then re-subdivides them to the respective parcels as outlined on the maps. And so by doing that, it kind of abandons your right-of-way during that process. So those folks also relinquish their interest to those property rights in order to then reattain those rights as the boundaries that we've outlined on the map. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you're doing that and you're moving your property lines, so like down there on our bottom yard, our Maggie property, basically you moved over onto the hill onto part of Bill Bauer's property. Now, does Bill Bauer have to sign off on that so that it ties in with ours? And what happens if he doesn't?
Yes, absolutely. So if he does not sign the map, that definitely is going to hold up the entire map. And so that
Just
is,
section 1 though, not the rest of the?
yes, that's right. And
Okay,
that's why we kind of divide it into units to kind of go combat that.
right.
We don't expect a lot of folks to hold out, but it could potentially be. And so with that, then there's other recipes that we have, like the abandonment application here, where we could come to you and your two neighbors outside of Mr. Bauer, and we would do a parcel map in that case and not a merger re-subdivision. And we would keep his property at record boundary and try to go around them in the best sense I can explain.
Okay, and what's his name in Salt Lake is on board for all of this?
Mr. Hughes
Mr. Hughes.
absolutely has been a pleasure to work with. I believe he's on the phone with us today. And everything that he signified to me, and I won't speak for him, during the public comment period, he's more than welcome to speak up. I believe that everything is copacetic with
Oh, that's
Mr.
awesome.
Hughes. And the attorney group and everyone in LK has been working really, I think, hand in hand with all the residents, and so I don't expect a lot of holdout, but it absolutely is a possibility, and I'll kind of get into some of those hurdles
Okay.
in just a moment. Again, so to kind of reaffirm what's in front of you today, it's the abandonment approach and this final map merger re-subdivision. So again, the merger re-sub, I think I've explained that. Again, your right-of-way kind of is relinquished by Lander County signing the map, and then that right-of-way is readopted per the maps. So the abandonment approach is a second dual-prong approach, which allows us, again, to do this mitigation measure if things don't go as we hope them to. At which point, that approach requires very specific Lander County approvals, which occurred all the way from the Planning Commission up to this point. So it's really just a backup plan to allow us all the tools in our tool chest to record these maps. Any questions on what's in front of you? Okay. So with that, we are right at a point to basically start to record maps. One of the biggest hurdles that we have, and I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet, let's see if it comes up here. Okay, so some bad news. Out of 515 individual parcels in Austin, the last report I got from the treasurer, 330 of them are delinquent on taxes.
Wow.
For a total of $109,064.75. That is a big problem. Part of our requirement as surveyors is that when these maps go to record, the treasurer has to signify on this map through a signed document like you see here that those taxes are paid. So it was a little disheartening as the team to get to this point where really we weren't even sure the state would ever give us an approval of a project this nature. It's never been done before. We don't know anyone that's done a project like this before, let alone get state approval, get to this point. We get to this point, we're thinking we're almost done, we can see the light in the tunnel, and this thing hit us pretty hard. We've got the attorney group here to kind of talk about some of those options, but that is by far the biggest hurdle in front of this project right now, is we've done everything we can as a survey team to get all of these items orchestrated. To get to this point, it's really on the residents to pay their taxes, sign the map. That is the last hurdle that's in front of us. Brian, did you want to touch on that?
Yeah, there's actually two parts to this. So we're going to get them to sign the map. What that map does is that actually identifies where the boundaries are going to be. However, in order to actually transfer title, there's going to be also a quitclaim deed that's associated with that. And that's what actually transfers title. And so we're going to be able to reach out to each individual landowner, whether they're going to be able to do it through DocuSign or otherwise. And part of that process will allow us to remind them as kindly as possible to pay those taxes and to make sure they get current on whatever they owe, so that we can make sure and get this recorded for their best interest. So, hopefully we're going to be able to address some of them on a direct one-to-one basis as we get those quitclaim deeds.
Worst case, so they don't pay their taxes, then what?
Well, I think you guys would have a tax lien at that point in time.
Right,
And
and
we
we
have-
just take the
Should have
property or?
several of them.
Several, yeah.
Yeah. And
And that has happened currently. There's one parcel in particular on my mind that is under treasurer ownership. What it does though, it stalls everything. It's my understanding if it was to remain in treasurer's ownership without any action from that original owner, we're staring at 2025, 2026 for that land to be actually maybe resold under Lander County to whoever under a public auction. So those are really worst case scenarios and can really hold things up big time. So I don't want to convey to the commissioners like, yes, we've done our whole job, everything's done. The work's still not done because these folks have to sign the map, and until they do, that map will not be recorded.
which facilitates that two-prong approach that we may have to take with some of these particular owners as we work through that process.
So this one property owner that I think we're talking about the same one, he goes in and he takes $1,000 and he goes to the treasurer's office and he says, okay, pay this on, and he brags about it. That he pay the ones that I'm the most delinquent on, pay percentages on them, but he never actually pays any of them completely. and he probably never will. So, so where does that leave us with that? Because it's still under the county's name, but he pays $50 on this one, $100 on that one. And that's what keeps it from going in front of the treasurer, you know, to be put up for auction, because he pays a small percentage of it. And Lander County allows that. Maybe we need to
We
rethink.
can address that on a very specific case-by-case basis,
Yeah.
and to, you know, we can work with you guys to take action as necessary in order to proceed forward if we need to do stuff foreclosure or other type of
Because he
thing.
brags about doing it. He's like,
I'm sure that people love to get out of paying their taxes.
yeah,
you know,
he owns quite a bit of property.
So, I mean, help me understand, so basically, it has to show taxes paid before we can progress, but if the progression is for the betterment of the community, how is the law, I mean, how is that law favorable? You understand, okay, I understand he's illegal in taxes, but why should that stop doing what we're trying to do? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. You know, the attorney group has looked at that pretty hard. I mean, to be honest with you, the project's so desperate, I personally look at paying the taxes. I'm not joking, I'm dead serious.
I'm not surprised.
Like, we don't, if you want someone off this plate, I want this off my plate.
I don't think you want to pay that one. It's like $30,000.
We have worked so hard to get to this point that we are desperate to see it succeed. The attorney groups looked at some of, if it's in a right-of-way, and that right-of-way was under dedication and not fee simple ownership, then that in itself allows some taxes to be pushed down the road. Brian, do you want to touch on
We can do
that?
some offering compromises as well, so with hopefully these things can be taken care of. I mean, there's a number of different approaches we can take. Our first approach is obviously to get the taxes paid, right? I mean, that's gonna be the optimal, is to go in and make sure that everybody pays their taxes. And I think you have to go forward with that approach first, because if news goes out that people are gonna just pay your taxes for you, nobody's gonna pay them, right?
Exactly.
And so we need to make sure that everybody understands that there's no intention by the county or anybody else to waive or do anything. If they don't pay their taxes, they're subject to foreclosure. That's period, end of story. And then after that, we can talk through a litigation session, I think would be appropriate, on what may be able to work out through any other means.
Well, let me ask you this question, I mean, you said the total amount was like 30,000, something like that?
You know, I'll just mention this one because it's been a sore spot for Austin. The old school property. That property is like $25,000 or $28,000. The guy hasn't, after he bought it and it switched over from school property and non-taxable, he pays a little here, he pays a little there, and it's huge.
Well, let me ask, so
More
Mike, so
than
where I was going with this was, let's say the commission, let's say the taxpayers paid for those delinquent property taxes to get this project moving. Couldn't we do that and then put a lien on that property?
There's already a lien. It's
There's,
already-
yeah, you have a tax lien as it sits right now because they're delinquent, right? You
Yep.
have the ability to assess a tax lien as it sits right now. And what I don't wanna do is have in a public meeting, discuss any type of waiver or anything like that would give somebody an incentive not to pay those taxes.
No, exactly.
And so what I'm telling you as a part of the public meeting today is that it's our intent to make sure and collect, as I'm sure it is the county's intent, to collect every dime of taxes that's due and owing, so these people can have their property, so they can get the insurance that they want, so they can have all the benefits of what this project intends to happen. And if they don't do that, then there will be repercussions, and we can discuss that through a litigation
All right.
session. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
clear.
I'm gonna interject one other possibility nobody's bringing up. I didn't have a chance to talk to Mr. Hardy about it, but we also, this is an election year, the legislature starts in January. We can probably get a bill draft request in, and if it's gonna be delayed into next year, that would be a way of getting around it, either a private bill or for anybody else.
Can you move the
that's
mic
going through this.
closer?
Eureka has some properties, or at least they used to, that would fall under this sort of problem. And I believe Gold Hill and Lida and a few other towns that are old mining towns have the same kind of problem.
This is Austin. We can barely hear you.
Okay.
Speak up, Bill.
Sorry about that. I was just suggesting that we might be able to get a bill draft request done to change the law for this sort of situation, to allow it to be signed off, or else to somehow put a lien on things when the lien isn't there. one way or another. There's various ways it could be done, but we might want to get busy trying to start that just in case we need it, and still pursue the various ways of trying to persuade people to pay up their taxes.
Yeah, there will be a primary in June. From that, be able to identify who your candidates would be, and from there we can begin working with the candidate. Obviously, who gets elected in November, we can have a bill draft request put together. We've done those before, if necessary. We're hoping, because you're going to see the city of Austin is going to have, fortunately or unfortunately, have lawyers knocking on their door with notaries if we have to. If they can't do it electronically for a DocuSign, we'll be knocking on their door, talking with them, not only encouraging them strongly to pay their taxes, but to try to sign off on all of the deeds and stuff that are necessary in order to effectuate these transfers. So I would suggest we exhaust those opportunities first as we kind of move forward, because we do have some timing as the legislature's not going to be until next year, and we do have candidates that won't be fully identified through November. So, and the bill process thereafter is in December. So very familiar with the legislative, as many of you know, I'm very familiar with the legislative, how things work at the legislature, and happy to assist or help out with that process if needed.
When are you looking to start knocking on doors?
Well, we need to have a final map approval first, so we're hoping that after this meeting here, we'll be able to hopefully start probably the 3rd or 4th week of March-ish.
Some people haven't got their maps yet.
So everybody that we have, I have an absolute beast of a mailing list. And so we have reached out to everyone through their registered address, and we have all of those here and for every owner of the entire town. And so they have been receiving a massive amount of mailing.
They have,
And
but I
so
know there's a
if
few
there's
that
a
said
few
they
that haven't, please absolutely reach out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please, and when you do reach out, give us your telephone number so we can call you. And we want to hear from everyone.
Okay.
And again, we've been sending mass mailers out. One went out in February, one went out in December, and there's been several prior to that as we've done our town halls, as some of you may know. And we're just trying to get out in front of everybody as much as possible. We've sent map rendition after map rendition. And again, we want to hear from them if they have any problems. We want to work it out immediately.
And we've been getting quite a few electronic email addresses as well, so we've been, those notifications not only go out via mail, but those who provided them, we're getting email addresses out, because those are going to be important as we move forward to hopefully expedite the process. We're going to try to use a DocuSign opportunity, which would need the email and those type of things in order to be able to accomplish that. So we're working through those processes to make sure that we get as many people taken care of as quickly as possible with one click, and then after that we can go door to door those people that are unable to do that or don't have contact information electronically.
And so going forward, the attorney group is charged with their primary scope of work is to obtain signatures, so I wish them, I'll be there right behind them, absolutely, every step of the way, but that is one of their primary scope objectives, and so we're gonna be there to assist them any way they need. If there's any modifications to our maps, we'll stand right here ready to do that at a moment's notice. These final maps will come to you, Mr. Chairman, for signature, and the clerk's office will have to attest to that signature. And then from there, we'll be seeking NDEP and DWR approval to then come back around to the treasurer's office and the assessor's office for their
So you're
signatures.
issuing us quitclaim deeds, but after that, we'll actually be able to have real actual deeds?
Well, yeah, so the quitclaim deed will have a description on it. We've got the format for that already approved by both the clerk's office, treasurer's office. I think everybody's approved assessor. So we've got everybody lined up on the form that they will accept for that. So you will have a new legal description attached to your quitclaim deed that will give you the description that can now be utilized by insurance companies,
But
mortgage
it's not
companies.
an
and
actual
those.
deed, it's still just a quitclaim deed?
No, it's got attached a legal description to it that
Okay,
will
well,
work as
my
your.
quitclaim deeds have legal descriptions too, but,
Yeah, this will have the new legal description on it so that everything works, yeah.
yeah, okay.
And then from there, the last step, once that map is recorded, LK, would you like to talk about some of those monuments?
Okay, well, the capstone of this project, from my perspective, is going to be the setting of monuments. And in all honesty, with maybe the exception of a few, we've got the iron in the ground. And what that means is we're using a 5/8 inch rebar that's 1.5 feet, 2 feet long to mark the property corners. What is not there yet are the caps. And there's a blue plastic cap for the ones on the interior of the town that will be set on top of the rebar once we get the maps filed. on the periphery of on the town boundary, we're gonna use an 1.5 to 2-inch aluminum cap, so that will mark the outer boundary of the town of Austin. We're gonna do that as soon as the maps are filed, and once the snow is off the ground in Austin. So I suspect the maps will be filed subsequent to snow melt. But anyway, that's gonna be the capstone of the project from my perspective, and we'll leave the lawyers and the tax collectors and folks like that to do their job.
Absolutely. So commissioners, I think that's what's in front of you. Again, there's still quite a bit of work that needs to be done from obtaining signatures in this tax issue. But we're always gonna be here if you have any issues with the project. We'll be at every step of the way.
Okay, thank you guys. Is there any discussion, questions, any discussion from the public?
Paula Tamara, Lander County Convention Tourism. We have 2 properties in Austin, and I've gone over the clinic property and I received that map. The Austin, or the St. Augustine's, the rebar that you have goes right through our sewer system, and nobody's like, how do we address that, where the markers are? Because you had mentioned before at another meeting, there was some issues with boundaries and property and things like that. So I haven't received any notification of any advancement, and where the rebar is that I went and inspected myself, it goes right through the sewer line for the church. So how is that determined? Are those set? Does that make us not be able to get to our sewer?
No.
How, if the property, if I have to replace that and now it's part of their property, just explain maybe a little
Sure.
bit about that.
Sure. So when I did the records research on the St. Augustine's Church, it didn't show that the Convention Tourism is the owner of that, and I
Well,
think.
we just acquired it.
Gotcha.
fully
So
in
in
January.
terms of any coordination, those coordinations are directly to the owner of the property, and until the recorder and the assessor illustrate that ownership, we coordinate with the owners of the property. But in terms of any underground utility infrastructure, that isn't any bearing on the property boundary itself. That utility infrastructure, per the map document and the deed documents, will reference that those existing utility alignments will maintain an easement regardless of where it is or is not. We don't know where the underground utility infrastructure is, and so it'd be absolutely impossible for us to try to identify that infrastructure. So we have a blanket note that stands true throughout the maps, that any underground utility will be afforded an existing easement for construction, maintenance, and reconstruction purposes. So hopefully that satisfies your concerns on the utility.
The utility, yes, thank you so much.
Okay.
And then the property boundaries, like historically, are you going through like historical documents to find out exactly where the boundaries are? Or, because I know that researching some of the St. Augustine's, it seemed like everything was there, but then you research the other properties and it's hard to determine how the other properties came into being. So how are you tracing the properties like that?
So it's under record ownership as it currently stands right now and under the Donovan map. And we provided several renditions to the property owners that outlined what their current record ownership was in relation to what the proposed boundary ownership was. So to answer your question, it's based on the existing record ownership as it lies today, and we are
Recorded
proposing.
with the county?
I'm sorry?
All of those documents that were recorded, they're listed with the county? That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Laura?
Do you have something to say to kind of clarify some of
Hi,
that?
Laura. It's on already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laura Duval, County Assessor, for the record. This Austin realignment boundary line encroachment issue project has been going on for me for over 30 years, okay? There has been extensive research in documents over the course of that time, and my mapper, who is Nancy Witruba with Geographics, is phenomenal. She has done extensive, tons of research clear back to the 1800s. She's done corrections, adjustments over the years for parcels. We have just exhausted our resources extensively on, trying to find records and deeds, and we still have a few little bugs, but we have done a ton of research. This is not something that happened overnight. This precedes Aaron's company by decades. And so, yes, if we've missed something, I mean, it's always possible, but there has been extensive research into this entire project. This has not been an overnight thing. This has been my biggest headache since I've been in office, and I've been assessor for 25 years. It's just been an ongoing. We had, as you guys know, Summit Engineering worked on this extensively for a long time, and then it just kind of didn't get completed, and that's where Aaron's company came in and got the ball rolling again. And Nancy has been in a lot of conversations. Also, Bob Morley, who knows Austin probably better than anyone in his field. He's done a lot of research. He's done a lot of assistance. He actually was going to retire at the end of December, but said he'd stay on until we finish this Austin project, which I was thrilled because his input has just been so valuable. So yes, we have done a lot of research. We've done everything we can. I think Aaron's team has done a phenomenal job on their side because they've come up with a lot of research, and we've worked together so well. So yes, the answer to that is we have done tons and tons of research on this, okay? I hope that answers. If you have any other questions, I'm here to answer.
I don't.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Charlie?
Okay,
I'd just like to thank the engineering company for doing their diligence throughout this whole process. It's been kind of fascinating to watch over the short time period that they've been working, and it's a breath of fresh air, so thank you.
thank you, Charlie. Is there any other discussion or questions? Okay, so we'll break it up in two motions. I'll hear a motion on item 3.
I motion to approve, accept the merger and re-subdivision for the previously approved abandonment application number 23-01 filed by A&M Engineering on behalf of Lander County to vacate the abandoned existing right-of-ways as shut down in the final maps of units 1 through 13 of the Austin realignment project.
Okay, so we have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
once again, I have to clarify, I am a property owner, but I have no financial gain or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, but aye.
Okay, so that passes. I'll hear a motion on item 4.
I'll make a motion that we approve the final map acceptance for the merger of re-subdivision for the Austin realignment project filed by A&M Engineering on behalf of Lander County to merge with the reversion to acreage by re-subdividing and recording on a final map approximately 315 acres to 306 parcels, and to further accept approximately 67 acres of dedication of right-of-way as shown on the final maps of units 1 through 13.
Okay,
I'll
so we have a
second.
motion and a second.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 All right, passes. Thank you
Thank
guys.
you guys
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you, Aaron. You guys all.
Okay, we'll move into item 5 for discussion of possible action on zone change application number 23-0037 filed by Battle Mountain Group LLC to change the zoning on APN 002-320-13 from C1 to C2, general commercial, TC, tourist commercial, and R4 multifamily residential. The subject property is located on the south corner of the intersection of Nevada 305 and Old Highway 8A, 100 Old Highway 8A, Battle Mountain, Nevada 89820. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. So here we are again for this zone change. The applicant reached out to me after last meeting and requested that we place it on the Commissioners' agenda again, just so it was too late to get on the February Planning Commission meeting, so they would have to wait until March. So they figured if we can get back on the Commission meeting, maybe we can get this taken care of a little bit quicker. So a couple things I do want to point out. In December of 2021, They applied for a zone change to change the parcel from tourist commercial to C2. That was on the original parcel, and that was approved by both the planning commission and the county commissioners. Then in September of 2022, they applied for a boundary line adjustment, which moved their property line, but the zoning does not follow the property line. So now we're here to extend that original zone, the C2, which was approved in 2021, to the back half of the parcel. So that's why we're here. I don't know, Gurdev, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, good morning, commissioners. My name is Gurdev Kular, one of the members of the property owner. So this parcel just east of you guys here is 18.5 acres. 16 acres currently already zoned commercial. Just asking for 2 acres to be rezoned from residential to commercial. And those 2 acres are in the back center portion of the property, so they're not even along any roadways or anything like that.
Okay. Are there any commissioner questions? No. Okay, perfect. Any discussion or questions from the public? Okay, I'll hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the zone change application number 23-0037 filed by the Battle Mountain Group LLC to change the zoning on APN 002-320-13 from C1 commercial to C2 general commercial TC and tourist commercial and R4 multifamily residential. The subject property is located on the south corner of intersection of Nevada 305 and Old 8A, 100 Old 8A and Highway and 8A Battle Mountain, Nevada 89820.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the zone change. Is there a second? Second. Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there you are, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move into item 6 for discussion and possible action to move the already approved budget workshop scheduled for March 11th and 12th of 2024 to a new date determined by the board. So what dates are looking good, Lakin?
So you guys had already set it to the 11th and 12th, but we're not quite ready to have the budget workshop. We have something that needs to go on the next commission meeting to be discussed before we move forward with our budget for next year. So I was looking at the 25th and 26th. Again, the week of the 18th is spring break, so I don't know that there will be very many people in town for that week.
So the 25th and 26th, that's Monday, Tuesday?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Tentatively, it works for me.
Yeah,
I could have some conflicts, I just don't know quite yet.
I don't see mine. I think I'd be fine.
Okay.
All the work I
I'm
did
open
for
on
the
those
11th and the 12th.
I'm sorry. We've had a lot of stuff come up and we're just
No.
not ready.
I think it should tentatively work for me.
Okay, so then the proposed dates for the budget workshop would be March 25th and 26th. That'd be a Monday and Tuesday. So if that's good, we have a motion to make that change.
A motion.
Okay, so we have a motion, and is there a second?
Second it.
And a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's what it is, 25th, 26th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We'll move into correspondence, reports, future agenda items. Anybody have anything on that?
I do.
Okay.
One, I would like to discuss getting the video in Austin again. I've talked with Laura, and Laura says that with her technology fund, she can fund all of it. It's not a big issue. We just need someone capable of setting it up or doing whatever for it.
Okay, so maybe we can put that as an agenda item?
I can kind of speak on that. So, our new Granicus system that we're working on for the packets, it has a live feed and it pulls the packet up with the live feed.
Okay.
So all they have to do is use, I believe they have a Promethean board already down
Yeah.
there. They would just have to connect that and they should be able to pull up the live feed and the packet all at one
Yeah,
time.
Laura says whatever money we need for technology funds and stuff, she has that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
But this program should take care of the problem, but if not, we'll look at something else.
Awesome. And then also, I would like the Austin Clinic put on the next agenda.
Okay, any other future agenda items?
No.
Okay, so we will move into public comment for non-agendized items only. Is there any public comment? Okay, I'll hear a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Muted.
So now this is our official map.
Bye, Austin.